Hey, it's Sabi, the food coach here. I want to talk about the opportunity and the critical juncture that we're at regarding immunity, COVID, and food. I've noted that with all of the media footage and stats, there's been next to no talk that I've heard about the need for good nutrition. Dealing with a public health crisis has to have a first line of defense to protect people. That has happened with isolation measures, PPE, testing, closing of services, etc. But not going deeper into the vulnerability of the human population due to the basic need for healthy eating misses out on a massive opportunity. So what does food have to do with immunity and COVID? Let's dive in. If it seems like a strange connection, this link between COVID and food, let's consider that our body and our immune system and all the parts and functionality of immunity are made up of air, water, and the molecules from food. So if we don't offer the right raw materials for form and function, then our immune system and the rest of our body cannot function optimally. Let's take a simple look at the immune system to understand more. I'm going to preface this by saying that I'm not an expert on immunity. It's complex and intricate, and I certainly don't understand it all. But I can offer enough of an understanding, I think, to help you make the important link between what you eat and how well you respond to a viral attack if you're exposed. The immune system has various lines of defense to protect us from harmful invasion, whether it's in virus, bacteria, chemical, or a mutated variation of a food substance. The first line of defense is the skin and the internal mucous membranes that surround organs and tissues. These act as protective physical barriers. Along with those barriers, there's the hair, including those of the nose called the cilia, and all that stuff that we excrete from our body, taking invaders with it. And again, along with that are various chemical barriers like stomach acid that make up the first line of defense. If an invader gets past that first line of defense of those physical barriers, then we have the second line of defense. This part of our immune army sends out phagocytes, which are white blood cells, that work in conjunction with inflammation to kill off the invader. Now imagine that you are constantly, on a daily basis, sending invaders into your body via the food that you eat. These invaders, I call them the unnutrients. What are these unnutrients, you might ask? Glad you asked. They include the chemicals that are added to the soil and the plants as they're growing and being shipped. They are altered molecules created during manufacture and processing, the bad fats, the modified food ingredients, the food colorings, the preservatives, the stabilizers, the sugar, and all those various disguises of sugars. It's also in the synthetic vitamins and minerals that are added to your food after manufacturing because there are no natural nutrients left. And on and on. These are so-called safe food substances. They are considered safe, but are they optimal? They certainly don't provide the basic nutrients needed for your immune system to be optimal. And they actually, in some cases, maybe in many cases, themselves are invaders. In other words, the immune system doesn't like them, sees them as foreign to the natural state of the body, and wants to fend them off. So if you eat foods containing these unnutrients, they journey past the first line of defense, and now it's up to the second line of defense to deal with them. Do that once in a while? No problem. Your immunity is strong enough to deal with it without lasting damage. But do it on a daily or almost daily basis, and you are bombarding your immune system constantly. This leads to the second line of defense, inflammation, becoming chronic. Now, you're not sure if you're chronically inflamed? Here are some of the symptoms and issues that are associated with inflammation. But be assured, this is not the totality of it. If you experience any ongoing pain, redness, or swelling, you are showing symptoms of chronic inflammation. Maybe this feels normal for you, but it is not optimal. It is estimated that 70% of our immune system is inside and surrounding the linings of the gut. It makes sense because the digestive tract is this grand opening to the surrounding world that we are constantly feeding with not only, hopefully, good food, but potential invaders. So we need that immune system to be close at hand. Included in the immunity in and around our gut are the trillions of bacteria that make up our microbiome. There is constant communication between the bacteria in our gut and the immune cells surrounding it. The microbiome makes up what has often been referred to as the soil of our body. If you are a gardener, you know that if the soil isn't healthy, the plants growing in it also won't be. There is way more vulnerability to pests and diseases in poor quality soil, and the same applies to our body. So what you feed your gut bacteria will determine the communication that goes on between the microbiome and the immune cells. The more fiber, plant phytochemicals, and good bacteria from vegetable and other plant foods, the happier the microbiome is and the more positive communication it has with our immunity. The more sugar and poor quality nutrition, i.e. the unnutrients, the more we set up our microbiome with parasitic bacteria that are now communicating mixed signals to our immune cells. This takes a lot more resources of immunity than the positive signals given by nutrient-dense foods. Chronic inflammation due to poor eating takes a lot of defense system of our immunity, thus leading to limited coordination of the different parts of the immune system that are needed to fight off a viral attack, such as COVID. Ignoring nutrition puts us at greater risk of a poor response if we do get exposed. So what do we do about it? I've written and spoken a great deal about what principles you should focus on if you're going to have a healthy diet and a strong immune system. Rather than repeat myself here, I'm going to direct you to the blog on my website, foodcoach.ca. The blog is named 3 Must-Haves in Any Good Diet. It's about a 5-minute read, and it will summarize the most important principles. Now, if you want to go deeper, my book, Jump Off the Diet Treadmill, dives into lots of details about eating and every aspect of it, as well as how to tackle your relationship with food if you overeat for emotional, stress, or habitual reasons. But here, let's talk about supplements specific to support you through times of COVID and beyond. Here are my top 5 supps to support your immunity. I've included links below for each one of them in relation to their role in the COVID response. Please note that none of these supplements are proven to prevent COVID or completely protect you in the case of exposure. All social guidelines should be followed, and of course, like any supplements, they are there to support food to do its critical work of making you optimally healthy. There is no magic pill if you don't eat well, however supportive they may be. So the first supplement is vitamin D. Vitamin D, as you know, is our sunshine vitamin. There are not a lot of food sources, and almost everybody I have ever seen the blood work for is deficient in vitamin D. So it's a no-brainer to take it. It's also one of only 2 molecules that has activity inside every cell of the body, and it's clearly associated with all the benefits of anti-inflammatory activity. One observational study of COVID patients found that there was a clear correlation between low vitamin D status and poor response to COVID infection. So I would suggest a recommendation of 4,000 IU per day during low light months, basically winter, early spring, and fall. Take it when you are consuming fatty food to increase its absorption. Number 2 supplement, zinc sulfate. Zinc is involved in multiple actions regarding immunity, including the formation of immune cells and signaling. I've found that the most absorbable form of zinc is liquid zinc sulfate, which often tastes awful. However, there is a good tasting one that I use and recommend to my clients that's available on Amazon. I've included a link in the notes. Number 3 supplement, probiotics. Given that our immune system is so dependent on communication with our microbiome, giving our gut an extra hit of good bacteria makes sense. Good bacteria also play an intricate role in anti-inflammation of the respiratory tract. Evidence shows that certain strains reduce the incidence of and response to viral infections. There is a lot to know about probiotics and which ones work. I've included a link to one that I use with my clients in the notes. Supplement number 4, vitamin C. We've all heard of vitamin C in the common cold. C plays numerous roles in immune defense response and is particularly important with its antiviral activity. When we are under stress, we need even more of it. A regular daily dosing of 500 milligrams 3 times per day may be good as a preventative, and mega dosing of 6 to 8 grams spread out through the day makes sense under the stress of a viral attack. Vitamin C is water soluble, so if you take it all at once, a lot of it will get flushed out in the urine. So spread your doses out over the day and take it with food. Supplement number 5 is L-glutamine. L-glutamine is the most abundant protein in the body, and it's needed for all tissue repair. It reduces inflammation, thus improving the status of the immune response. It is best to get it in powder form because you have to take a fair bit of it, and if you're taking capsules, it's a lot of capsules to take. It can be added to any food or drink. It's best not to heat it, but you can add it to hot foods, and it's very neutral in taste, so it's easy to take. Recommended dose is 1 teaspoon per day, which is 5 grams, and you can take it 1 to 2 times per day, depending on your current status. One final thought. Stress of any form takes a lot of energy. Energy is needed for every metabolic process in the body, including immunity. So knowing where you are depleting your energy is a good first step to addressing overall health and a sense of well-being. If you haven't visited foodcoach.ca and taken the free Energy Gains Drains assessment, now may be the perfect time. It'll take you about 8 minutes, and it's a great addition to your overall lifestyle support. Hope this was helpful. Let me know if you have any thoughts or questions.